In the last hour, we had a sitting senator as our guest. This hour, we have a former senator as our guest. He is now the Secretary General of the ruling party, the largest political party in the country. He's also now somebody who can, walk into cabinet and sit and ask, ati leo tunadiscuss nini? Leo tunasema nini? Cleophas Malalah, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Yes.
Karibu sana to Kenya's biggest conversation again.
Asante sana.
It's good to have you here.
We thank God for the gift of life, for the good weather. We're having adequate rain. And these are signs that the heavens are happy with us. Yeah.
You've hired somebody to do your shopping, for your wardrobe, right? And one of the briefs is make sure that there's a yellow somewhere.
Not really.
Come in a yellow.
Rudisha. Yeah. Even Prof here, I think he has hired the same person. We're sharing the same consultant.
Maybe he's your member. City.
Yeah. Though yellow is a color of hope, color of brightness.
Right.
Yeah, so...
Actually, color of the sun.
I was in Yellow House in primary school.
You're in Yellow House.
And even in secondary school, the house I was in, the color was yellow.
Yeah.
Of the actual house?
Yes. No, houses.
Dormitory.
I get it.
Of course you get it.
Malalah. Unaona dynasty. Primary school alikuwa yellow house. Wewe primary school ulikuwa standard 4 what?
I was in 4 South.
Not house.
Direction.
Primary, it's your primary.
Primary. City, why don't you give us the day's proverb?
Yes, our proverbs for this week are from the country of Libya. He howled before going mad.
He howled before going mad.
Meaning he actually went mad, but before he did, he howled.
Ishmael, what do you make of that?
I think it's a matter of causality, cause and effect. What happens before an action. And he howled before he went mad. The consequence of an action can be seen by the prevailing characteristics that are being showcased. And therefore, they say a good day is seen in the morning. So whatever you see right now, is a prediction of what is going to be tomorrow. At the moment, whatever you are seeing, the current government trying to do, is a sign that tomorrow is going to be a better day for us in Kenya. The level of commitment this country or the leadership of this country is showcasing at the moment is a good sign that we're going to have a better tomorrow.
The rain is a sign of a bumper harvest.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Many things are happening, and we thank you that you're here. Many things are happening, politically and the governance scene. So let's start with just the latest and most recent one.
Yes.
You took an oath of office last week.
Yeah.
What was it for?
I did not take an oath of office.
What was it?
I took an oath of secrecy. The president, in his wisdom, thought it wise that he needed his advisors to be with him when he's deliberating on crucial matters of this country. Many people have misconceptualized his steps and say that, the Constitution only provides for a number of cabinet secretaries, are allowed up to a maximum of around 23 cabinet secretaries to be in cabinet, and therefore we are strangers in cabinet.
Yeah.
I will want to make this very clear, that the president has not added an extra ministry in this country. We still have the ministries as enshrined in the Constitution.
Right.
What he has done, he has ensured that when he's making and deliberating on important matters in the cabinet, he has his advisors there to advise him. I come in there to advise him on matters politics and to make sure that the manifesto on which we were elected on is being implemented by cabinet. Because at the end of the day, in 2027, we shall go back to the people, and the people will ask us to be accountable of our time. Okay. The cabinet secretaries are in the executive, will not be there campaigning. In fact, they won't have resigned from their seats.
Okay.
They will not even be allowed to campaign. It is us who will go back to the people to seek for a re-election. Okay. And therefore, I am there to ensure that whatever we promised the people of Kenya is implemented so that we can be politically accountable.
Okay.
And therefore, I do not sit in as a cabinet secretary.
Okay.
You sit
So
in as an advisor.
Are you an advisor to the cabinet, or are you an advisor to the president?
We were sworn in. We were sworn in, the four of us. The advisor on economic affairs, the advisor on security matters, and the advisors on women rights matters. Gender. So I came in from the party to represent the party, the ruling party, the party which brought us to this government. And therefore I sit there to represent the interests of the UDA party.
So who represents the interest of Amani, not Amani, there's Amani National Congress, of Ford Kenya, of Maendeleo Chap Chap?
You also need to know that President William Ruto ran on a UDA ticket.
Yes.
Yeah. And therefore, in as much as we had the Kenya Kwanza coalition,
It's a UDA government.
The ticket that the president ran on was UDA.
Was it a UDA manifesto?
It was a Kenya Kwanza manifesto, because we encapsulated all those other ideologies, because our convergence point, was on the issue of turning around the economy, and we shared a lot of ideologies together with our sister parties, and it is at that point that we said, let us have the plan. Okay. And that plan had a lot of common things. And we had the plan as a manifesto, which to us, we say that now moving forward, we need to have at least one mother party seated there to ensure that the plan is being implemented. Yeah.
So you represent Kenya Kwanza?
Oh, yes.
Not necessarily UDA?
Oh, yes. And there's no conflict about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The question again that Ndu has asked, are you there to advise the cabinet, or are you there to advise the president?
I'm there to advise. You cannot differentiate the cabinet from the president, because the president is the head of the cabinet.
Okay.
And whatever decisions that are being made there, it is also good to remind the cabinet, because the cabinet is serving or it's implementing whatever deliberations that are happening in cabinet on behalf of the people of Kenya. And if the cabinet goes wrong on certain decisions, politically speaking, it is UDA which will be politically accountable. And therefore, I'm there to represent the interests of UDA to ensure that whatever we promised the people of Kenya is being implemented to the latter.
Okay, so help us understand how this would play out. For example, if you say you're there to represent the interests of the party generally, right? So if something were to go wrong, who would you advise and say, would it be, Mr. President, sir, this in this ministry, for example, is not going according to how we said it was going to as a party when we were in the throes of a campaign? So who would you speak to? Would you then speak to a cabinet secretary directly, or would you speak to the president and say, hold on a minute, this is not what we said was going to happen?
We do not have a definite boundary on that, because it is not, we do not have definite laws that gives me or mandates me to speak to a certain person. But the party leader, being our party leader, will be able to advise him and tell him, party leader, on this particular issue, you are the one who promised Kenyans on the issue of subsidized fertilizer, but in this policy that you've adopted in cabinet does not take the interest of that particular promise, and therefore kindly make the following adjustments. So it's upon him to convince the cabinet to ensure that now they make an otherwise decision that favors his promise. Yes, because we cabinet is independent. Cabinet members are independent members who make a decision as cabinet.
Yeah.
But he is the head of cabinet.
Yes, he is. He's also the president.
Yes.
We've heard pronouncements from the Kenya Kwanza government that they are a government that not only abides by the rule of law, but uphold the rule of law.
Oh, yes.
And they took it further and court rulings. Now, I'm speaking and asking as a layperson, Is there any legislation, is there anything in our constitution that gives the president the leeway to nominate, appoint people who were not cabinet ministers to attend cabinet functions, as in cabinet meetings, decision-making process of the cabinet? Is there any legislation that allows for this?
We come in the bracket of the presidency. We don't come in as extra members of cabinet. We don't come in as extra cabinet secretaries. It's like the president coming in with a set of advisors to advise him on the decision that he's making in cabinet.
So essentially you're saying that in addition to the deputy president who's part of the presidency, advisors are also part of the presidency. And so the president has that leeway because the word they use is lacuna.
There's a lacuna, of course.
There isn't anything specific.
There is no express legislation that says that the president cannot
forbids
have advisors
no.
to attend cabinet meetings. But there is a law that says that caps the number of cabinet secretaries.
There's a law that defines what a cabinet is.
Yes.
And it says the cabinet shall comprise the president,
yes,
the deputy president, not less than 15, not more than 23
yes.
members,
Oh,
all
yes.
in total.
Oh, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
That includes the president and the deputy.
Yeah.
So there's already a law that says this is the cabinet.
Oh, yes.
And this is now the top decision-making organ of the country. Now, when you go in as advisor to the president sitting in cabinet, what influence do you have on the deliberations that are taking place in cabinet?
We do not come in to deliberate, to make decisions, because as enshrined in law, the cabinet is supposed to make the decisions with the membership as defined in law.
Okay.
Ours is to advise the president on matters economic, on matters security, on matters women's rights, and on matters politics. For him now to be able to direct the cabinet to align with the promises he made to Kenyans. Okay. And we come in, we don't come, any meeting, any person can come in as a member attending the meeting in attendance. You can attend the meeting in attendance.
What? Perhaps
playing parliamentary issues, standing orders. Yeah.
It's all right.
They're in attendance, like a committee session of parliament.
I see what he's saying, but you see, like I'm looking at this from the perspective of what, say, Parliament does.
Yes.
They will invite a CS, they'll invite someone with a position to come and shed light on certain issues which have arisen. Okay, so for that day, that person is shedding light.
Yeah.
So what we saw,
yes,
was it a shedding light session for that day, or is it something that is now permanent, that you're going to be shedding light every time there's a cabinet meeting?
Once you can be allowed to shed light, it doesn't limit you on how many times.
How many lights?
That's now micromanaging.
I understand. You see, the fundamental difference here is that with Parliament, they invite you, they ask you to come.
And they also had to amend their own procedure
for that to
happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to stipulate who comes and when they come and how they come.
Yes. Yeah.
And for how long they stay.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's very clear. Now, in cabinet, you're saying, well, it's just like if we're having the president can summon you today to State House individually as Cleophas Malalah and say, all right, so how are we looking like? You've looked at our manifesto, you've looked at our programs, how are we looking like? And you can have a one-on-one meeting with him where you advise him and remind him of the promise that he made at certain place and how we included this in our manifesto, in our 47 county charters, in our women charter, in our youth charter, in our border charter, in all those charters. You can remind him. Then he can also invite you to cabinet, and you come in there and you listen to what's happening and say, hey, excuse me, but
this is not what we agreed.
This is not what we agreed. That's what you're saying.
No, one of the things that I am mandated, even outside cabinet, to do as Secretary General of the party is to ensure that we monitor the implementation of the manifesto that we gave people, we promised our people. And we have come up with a matrix and a tool as a party, because at the end of the day, in 2027, we are the ones who are going to be accountable to the people.
That's true.
So we've come up with a matrix which monitors all the ongoing projects of government. We know to what extent are we behind schedule?
Yep.
Are we on schedule? When are we going to launch? To what impact will it have to the president?
Yep.
So we are using that tool as a party to advise the president, telling him, come on, this project was supposed to be commissioned in August, but up to now it's only 30% done. We are behind schedule. Is it possible you expedite the process so that we are on time, so that politically we are okay and these people can start receiving services before we get to the next general elections? And therefore, that tool automatically generates the performances and the performance of the CSs. Because in your ministry, if you have, say, 210 projects and all the projects are at 20%, automatically your performance as a CS will be generated from that tool.
Yeah.
And therefore it will help the president. It's a decision-making tool for the president to know, come on, this Ministry of Defense, we are lagging behind. Oh, this Ministry of Roads, why is CS Murkomen only at 32% of implementation of what we had agreed with people? Because that tool has also a timekeeping aspect. Every day it counts the number of days to the elections, and it pops up reminding the president, come on, we are remaining with 1,270 days to the elections. Hurry, hurry. You know. So it is a custom-made process that is meant to help us be effective in performance as government. And what is wrong with that? If it's helping Kenyans, if it's helping us deliver to the promises we made to Kenyans, I see it as absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Actually, in my mind, it's not whether it's wrong or right.
Yeah.
It's the clarity of it.
Okay.
So that one understands what exactly is happening. Because if it's something, if we're saying the president has the powers to make such a decision, then that's what we need to understand. So is he going to issue an executive order? How is he going to go about this? And if that is the case, then can he then decide that he wants Siti Muga to attend cabinet today? And he'll say, Siti, today, come.
And swear.
Yeah, just take this secrecy oath thing, and then
you sit in here.
and then attend. An action such as this one sets a precedent. That is what I'm trying to get at.
Oh yes.
And so one needs to understand that, okay, it's a precedent. Now, moving forward,
the people who were sworn in are not just a person from the general public. These are people who are already...
You really looked for this one.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, because these are people who are already appointed in substantive offices.
That's true.
You know,
As advisors
on certain matters.
Yes.
and there was clarity that the portfolio is at a ministerial level.
Yes.
Yes, that was understood.
Yeah.
Yes.
And therefore they are coming in already defined of their role.
Okay.
Yeah.
The question that City is asking, on what law is it anchored?
Day-to-day running. Like today, you guys are here. I am very sure you have no law that tells you, come on, discuss this topic this day. Today you must be 3, tomorrow you must be 4. So it's a day-to-day running of government.
We have a guide. We definitely do.
We do have even a protocol.
And you see, that protocol we don't know about it, and we come here. So I'm operating on nothing. Like here, I'm here. Like I'm operating on nothing.
Actually, you are invited.
So
you were invited. Let's start there. You are invited.
No, what we are saying is.
Yes.
Day-to-day running of government is that power has already been given to the president through the constitution
and law.
Exactly, and and it gives him the prerogative to run government, day-to-day running of government,
But it limits him as well.
Yeah,
there are things he can do, there are things he cannot do.
When you look at the role.
For example, although he is the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Republic of Kenya, he cannot declare war on Somalia.
No, he can't. But
right? There's a process.
But he's
ultimately, he's the commander-in-chief. But he cannot declare war.
Of course, he cannot do something which is unconstitutional. But if it is in the good and in the interest of Kenyans, then he has been given those powers. That's why he was elected by the people of Kenya to lead this country. And therefore, if he's doing something for the good
there are checks
of
and
Kenyans.
balances.
Yes.
You know, he can say, for the good of Kenyans, I want to have 50 cabinet secretaries.
As he did.
He cannot have 50 cabinet secretaries. He can only have a maximum of 23, including himself.
Yes.
Right?
Cabinet?
For the good of the country, the Constitution has said the number of ministers we can have.
Yes.
For the good
And
of the country.
and the number of ministries.
For the good and the number of ministries. For the good of the country, the Constitution has said how many deputy presidents we can have.
Yes.
For the good of the country, the Constitution has said even how the president conducts the order of government.
Yeah.
He communicates via his pen and signature. For the good of the country, he can't say, from tomorrow we are coming up with this law. It has to go through Parliament. Then it passes Parliament. It comes to him for assent. It becomes law. Right? He can't assent it to a bill that has not been passed by for the good of the country. So even now we're saying yes, there's all this, everything that you're explaining makes sense. In terms of the president in day-to-day running of government, he requires advisors, and those advisors will bring in technical expertise, and that technical expertise can also then be translated into the cabinet. But what are the limits?
That same law allows him to have that. The position you have is allowed. One cannot dispute your position. The powers within your mandated office exist. That's why you're able to do what you're doing. You see, what we're querying here is just seeking to understand, because sometimes we listen, we hear, we see, but we lack clarity. And it's that clarity that we're seeking.
And I think since this is the first time such an appointment or such reorganization is being done, you are right. Clarity is needed. But what is very clear from my side is that the president has not added any additional ministries.
That's sure. That's understandable.
He has not.
That's for sure.
So he has not perforated the Constitution in any way, because the Constitution caps it at 23.
Yeah.
We still have 23 ministries. But we have a lacuna or a gray area in the Constitution which does not allow or does not deny the president the powers to allow somebody to attend cabinet in attendance.
Okay, so then looking at that situation, what precludes him then from bringing in more individuals, such as yourself, to come in and swear the oath of secrecy to advise on other matters as well? It could be you today.
Yeah.
It could be somebody else tomorrow. And that's the question that is being asked right now. What stops it from being a situation whereby individuals tomorrow, in whatever capacity, are then brought in to swear and attend these meetings?
As I said, it's the prerogative of the president as for now, and we are building jurisprudence. We can use these now to develop even future legislation. I'm sure somebody has already rushed to court to get interpretation of this. Through that judgment, we will be able now to even build the jurisprudence even much better. At the end of this thing, we will come out with a better way of handling Kenya, because we are not the only Kenyans. We shall not exist forever. We shall have even other people coming in. Maybe this is an opportunity now even to relook at the composition of cabinet. So I don't think it's a bad thing. It's an opportunity. It's a window which we can now have a better conversation around it. And you see, for me, it's not a matter of sitting in cabinet or not sitting in cabinet. It's a matter of what is the output for the president. What do we want? Is the president well advised? This country, when we inherited this country was at its lowest. When we inherited this country, it was at its lowest.
When was that?
In August.
Oh, last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Are you in doubt?
Well, you are in the Senate, you would know better than...
You are Kenyan, you would know better.
So you have taken us to the lowest point as senators and
not as senators.
Leaders.
No.
Okay.
The previous regime had taken this country, and that, truth be told, has taken this country to the bottomless pit.
You do know when you say that,
Yeah.
that particular government that you speak of was in power for 10 years.
Oh, yes.
You are a senator.
Oh, yes.
You are an overseer.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Our current president was part of that government.
And you know what happened?
Oh,
I'm sure you're speaking from a very informed background.
I am.
Yes.
I'm
so let us not be theoretical about it.
No. Where I'm going with this, governments are a continuum.
Exactly.
That government of 10 years inherited from the government of a previous 10 years.
Yes.
This government has inherited from a previous 10 years.
Yes.
And you see, even the issue that we're dealing with are a continuum. Now, sometimes when we judge those in power, we don't distinguish. But every government comes with its own new set of misdeeds by which we will judge them, as this government will be misjudged or judged. Now, in order not to make blanket statements and sweeping statements about issues, you see, this conversation we're having, it is so that we don't do that. So that when we speak of something that has happened, which seems not to be what we are accustomed to, what our little understanding of the Constitution is, we say, hey, before we proclaim knowledge on this subject, can we ask somebody who has knowledge to come and tell us? Yeah, so that when we talk about it, we talk from a position of knowledge. You see, President Museveni of Uganda appoints advisors, but he uses the law. There's an Article 172C in the Ugandan Constitution that he uses. Now, I think, if I'm not wrong, he has 142 of them. Okay? Recently appointed his son, the general,
to advise him some more.
Yes, he appoints them. Now, you can say all you like. You can say there are many.
You can
but
say he's even
you can say
nepotism.
you say what you like, but it is anchored in a law that they have. His constitution allows him that, and there's no cap.
It's good you said his constitution.
Yes.
you know.
So, very nice Freudian slip there.
Yes. No. His constitution as in the constitution. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
He oversees his constitution, so it's his constitution.
Yes.
Every citizen of Uganda, it's their constitution.
Oh, yes.
It's something that you own. Now I'm saying my constitution and our constitution. I think you see where I'm going with this.
Oh, yes. And it's also good to...
That is the clarity that we're seeking.
I get you.
Yes.
But it's also good to appreciate the fact that legislations and even constitutions are not static documents, are not cast on stone, they're not made of concrete, they're dynamic. We have emerging issues that come up as a country. We have international relations that now will inform even amending some of our constitution articles in the Constitution. And therefore, a law is a dynamic document. It keeps on improving. And as I said earlier, that this is an opportunity for us to look at the law as it exists and say, okay, having done this, what is now the best way to concretize this idea so that it can have a better output for Kenyans? And therefore, I will want to urge Kenyans to continue giving their views as pertains the matter.
Yep.
But in the meantime, we are keen. Our focal attention is focused on making sure that we deliver for the people of Kenya.
Right.
We have a manifesto that we promised Kenyans, and we do not want to be derailed by anything. We will continue focusing. Whether I sit in cabinet or I don't sit in cabinet, I will continue ensuring that the people who have been mandated, who have been given the executive powers, courtesy of our party UDA, are performing. And therefore, my role is much more even outside cabinet.
Okay. Our guest this morning is Cleophas Malalah, who is the UDA Secretary General and who is also sworn the oath of secrecy to attend cabinet meetings. And that's what we're discussing, that. And I like what you've said. It opens an avenue for that conversation, for clarity in law. If there are any lacunas, we make sure that then we have clarity in law. And so the conversation continues. Do you get an allowance for attending those cabinet meetings?
I attend those cabinet meetings as Secretary General of UDA.
So there's no sitting allowance?
I am paid by UDA. The Attorney General, when he attends cabinet, he does not turn into a cabinet secretary. Before he gets in, he's an Attorney General. During the meeting, he's an Attorney General. After he leaves, he's an attorney general. Before I get into those meetings, I'm the Secretary General for UDA. While I'm attending as Secretary General for UDA.
Okay.
After I leave, I'm the Secretary General for UDA.
So do you get allowances?
I am not paid by government. I am paid by my party. My party pays me through the political party's fund.
Okay, so let's ask the question differently. When you sit in those meetings, are you paid by UDA to sit in those meetings?
Yes, I am the Secretary General for UDA. I am paid.
So you get a sitting allowance.
So you get a
No,
sitting allowance.
I am paid a salary by UDA. You know, it's like you earn a salary.
Yes.
You know, you cannot ask that since I'm doing the morning show, do I get an allowance for doing the morning show? You know, it is in my line of duty.
Senator just a couple of months
It's
ago.
in my line of duty. It's in my line of duty to ensure that the manifesto is implemented. So when I sit there, it is just one of my duties.
So when
as Secretary General.
an MP or a senator is attending a committee session,
Yeah.
are they doing it as part of their job as senator?
Oh yes.
Should they receive a sitting
But
allowance?
recently the SRC removed the,
but at
the
the
sitting
time that
allowance,
it was
and you know that.
happening.
When you were a senator, were you?
No. We are talking about the current situation. Even now, members of county assemblies, and I pity members of county assemblies who do not get a sitting allowance. Because according to SRC policies, they say that is part of your role.
So why do you pity them?
Yeah, I pity them because their remuneration is one thing. And this must be said. I'm sure not everybody will agree with me, but a member of county assembly is an elected member. When we were conducting elections, Kenyans elected 6 people: a member of county assembly, the MP, the senator, woman rep, president, and all those other cadres. And the level at which we have placed a member of county assembly does not give him the concentration to perform his duties effectively. You can imagine a member of county assembly after deductions earning 50,000 shillings.
86.
No, you see 86, but one, you've given him a car loan of 2 million to enable him come to work. And that loan, when deducted, around 34 or 40,000 shillings per month, then he remains around 50,000 shillings. That member of county assembly will not be able to perform his duty as enshrined in the constitution, his duties of oversight, representation, because 86,000 does not even allow you to rent a house where the assembly is. And even if you are renting a house, then it's not a decent house. For example, we have vast counties like Nakuru. Nakuru stretches all the way from Naivasha to Nakuru town. So imagine
And beyond.
To the border
but I'm talking in respect to the county assembly, the building of the county where they're supposed now to attend their sessions. Imagine an MCA traveling all the way from Naivasha to Nakuru to attend a session and going back to their homes, because they do not have enough money to rent an extra house apart from the house he has
that they live in
the ward.
with a family.
Exactly. So he'll be forced to get some informal settlement somewhere where he pays a bed sitter, I'll say, where he pays 5,000, 10,000. You know, once you take our elected leaders to that level, first of all, they lack the confidence to come and legislate independently. They lack the financial confidence, because now a governor comes in and give them for this budget to pass, come on, I'll take you to a trip to Dubai or somewhere, kindly pass for me this. So they'll be prone to influence, external influence in their decision making. My plea, and this is and you know I've been a member of county assembly before, my plea is that let the Salary and Remuneration Commission do a job evaluation. That for a person who is supposed to legislate as a job, to do oversight, and to do representation, including public participation and whatever, how much is that person supposed to earn? Do a job evaluation for that and give us standard rates for a member of county assembly. When the members of county assembly were campaigning during the previous elections, the salary for MCAs was changed through a gazette notice 3 weeks to the elections. And these people, most of them, left their previous workstations 6 months ago. They resigned 6 months ago, and they had what we call legitimate expectation. At the point they were resigning to decide...
There was a salary.
Yeah, there was a salary. And at that point, they knew that a member of county assembly will earn this amount.
Yeah.
3 weeks to the elections, when they cannot engage a reverse gear, somebody changes their salary. So even in the law of natural justice, legitimate expectation was interfered with.
Some of the members of the county assembly that we've spoken to also feel let down by the Senate. Now, you moved from county assembly of Kakamega to the Senate, and you sat there. Do you think senators would play a better role in advocating for the plight of MCAs on these matters of their welfare?
Yeah, Senate would do... Their role will be limited to advocacy, because I want to believe that
and their voice is loud enough.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying just advocacy. But the commission which is entitled and which is mandated to deal with this matter once and for all is the SRC.
That's true.
And to me, my suggestion would have been, the members of county assembly have done a petition to the Senate.
Not once, not twice.
Exactly. My suggestion would be, is it possible for the SRC to offer a platform whereby they can listen to the presentations of the members of county assembly, members of the Senate, and all players of devolution? Because, we might be wanting to judge or to put certain, say, measures in terms of salary capping to the MCAs. But we are not doing that at the benefit of this country. We are doing that at the detriment of the devolution, because we are disadvantaging devolution. If we do not have an effective county assembly in a county, we are denting devolution. And therefore, we shouldn't look at that from a personalized point of view. We should look at that from a point of view that we want to strengthen devolution. The members of parliament are earning, say, 800,000. The president is earning around 1.4 million shillings. When you look at the percentage of the salary between the president and the member of parliament, is around 50-something or 41% of the president's salary. When you look at the salary of the governor and that of the MCA, is 11%. Surely, how would you oversight somebody who is earning 10 times more than you're earning?
Indeed. Those are questions that need to be considered.
You actually can oversight very angrily.
It will happen, but how you do it will be a totally different question. I must ask you though, so when will you attend cabinet next?
Cabinet meetings are called in by the Secretary of Cabinet.
Exactly.
And upon invitation of the next cabinet, every cabinet meeting, you are notified.
Okay, so it doesn't go for granted, it's not guaranteed that every subsequent meeting Cleophas Malalah will be in attendance.
The prerogative of the president.
Okay, so in the event that you would attend the next one,
yes,
whenever you're invited to, what would be your agenda? Or do you sit and wait to be called on? Or, as you said, the scorecard, it's an app or something, you said, right? Yeah. You've looked at that, and in preparation, you'll be able to go in and then say, guys, here we've not... what would be the agenda on the next one that you would be invited to?
First of all, cabinet, you are given notice and you are given the agenda in advance. And therefore, in the agenda, we'd be able to look now as a party, what is this that is going to be the input of the party to ensure that whatever they are going to deliberate is enshrined in our manifesto and is being implemented. And therefore, if there is any advice that we are supposed to give as a party, considering the prevailing political circumstances outside there, we will be able now to advise and say, okay, on this particular policy that you want to adopt as cabinet, kindly consider the following aspect of the manifesto to ensure that it's enshrined. Second, we'll also be giving an update to the cabinet on what exactly are people saying pertaining certain decisions of cabinet. And therefore, they will be looking at at those decisions from a wider scope and not just a microscopic scope of theoretically passing policies that do not go in tandem with the aspirations of the general public. And therefore, we are always there. I'll be always there with the monitoring kit to ensure that we are on course.
With what he's supposed to do. And what is the Prime Cabinet Secretary supposed to do?
He's in the executive. He is in the executive. His role is well defined.
Yes. Which is
to coordinate ministries.
Yes.
Performance contracts.
To ensure that that there is performance.
Exactly.
And also to monitor then the performance. So he's monitoring performance and you're monitoring performance.
No. Mine is coming in from the point of view of the promises that we made politically
as a party. Okay.
We are not interested in the day-to-day running of ministries and coordinating of ministries. The Prime Cabinet Secretary is mandated to run day-to-day coordination of ministries and to ensure that there's performance on day-to-day.
Based on the manifesto?
No, based on whatever.
Of the Kenya Kwanza administration?
No, based on the policies.
The bottom-up economic agenda is the overarching.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So everything that the government is doing is basically looking at the bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
Yes.
And so when Musalia Mudavadi and his state departments are actually monitoring the performance of government, are coordinating this, and they are creating a dashboard, they are monitoring against the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Cleophas Malalah is doing the same thing.
I'm not doing the same thing. Mine is just a link with whatever they're doing with the political world.
To ensure that whatever they're doing is in tandem with what you promised and what was in your manifesto.
Exactly.
That's it. The day-to-day details
is upon
Prime Cabinet Secretary.
Prime Cabinet Secretary. Okay. And there's no duplication of roles whatsoever. Mine is just a reminder.
So essentially you're saying that the Prime Cabinet Secretary is administrative, yours is political.
Oh, yes. And just creating a political link to the outside political world.
Okay.
Because many a times we've seen administrations which are blind to what is happening outside there. At the moment, we have political feelings about the finance bill. We are alive of the fact that Kenyans are complaining about the high rise of fuel prices. We are alive of the fact that we have matatu owners who have decided to add 30% of the prices, yet the fuel was added only 8%. Why did they not add only 8%? Why did they add 30%? So that's reality.
So taking that situation,
just a moment. That reality is what I would brief the president. I tell him, come on, these 8% that you added on VAT, the ramifications out there is that now the matatu owners have added, in a distance where we were paying 100 shillings, they have now added to 130 shillings instead of adding 8 shillings. So what can you do as cabinet to regulate and ensure that people do not take advantage of the law that you have passed? The political reality. I'm bringing in a window to the cabinet to be able to see and have a clear vision of what the political reality is out there.
Sounds like you're taking the hustler's voice into cabinet.
Oh, yes.
It's like feedback loop.
Exactly.
All right.
Essentially, is the pulse. Meaning, okay, you guys are doing all these things, but politically, let me just explain to you what's happening. This is what's happening, okay? And this is what's happening. In case you didn't know, this is what's happening. And this is the... So this decision we made, this is how it's being taken. Am I getting you right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Because we are politically accountable to the people. That role, Musalia Mudavadi cannot play it because he is purely administrative and he's playing it very well. Coordinating government, parastatals. But mine is just to provide a loop or a link to the political world. And these will help our president make decisions that are politically favoring the country.
Do you have a question?
No, I was...
Is that the one he has just answered?
Well, because what I was trying to understand was then, so in the situation whereby things are running amok, like you've talked about now, transport going up through crazy, one would assume that those sitting in cabinet can't see, so they would need you to then be able to tell them this is not going right. So you see it in a manner in which they don't, is what I'm trying to establish here.
Oh yes, because my role is, because I lead a political vehicle, I interact with the political class every day.
Yeah.
That is why I do the voter, the membership
drive,
because I interact with the day-to-day political environment. And therefore I can be able now to feel and give feedback to the people who are making those policies. You'll find that some ministries are making, some policies are interrelated. And at the time you are making a decision in your ministry, you do not know the consequence when that decision, when now brought in between,
when it's implemented,
you do not know that the implications, and therefore I'm just coming to bring in feedback to the cabinet so that they can make a good decision moving forward.
Okay, let me ask, from your barometer, the pulse, what are Kenyans currently most happy about?
I think Kenyans are happy about the focus that government has taken when it comes to ensuring that, first of all, we are committed to touching on issues that affect Kenyans on day-to-day running. Like one of the issues that Kenyans are happy about is our focus on farming. Ensuring that we have food security in our country, because we've had, these past days, we've had very, very bad days when the cost of living and the cost of food was very high due to shortage of food, and therefore we do not want to do that again. You've seen government ensuring that it invests in the production of enough food in this country.
Okay.
One, it has given subsidized fertilizer. Two, we are giving adequate information to farmers. Like recently, you've been told that we are going to experience, and the weather forecasters showed us that we're going to experience an El Nino, maybe from September moving forward. And therefore, farmers are warned that, come on, what can we do to ensure that we mitigate the post-harvest losses?
Okay, so on the agriculture front, Kenyans are happy.
And we are trying, and we are going to experience a bumper harvest.
What else are Kenyans happy about?
Second, Kenyans are happy with how the president is focused on fighting corruption. You've seen the KEMSA, the people who tried mishandling KEMSA. The president was very, very, very straightforward in dealing with that matter. He, first of all,
disbanded the board.
Exactly, and ensured that we have an active case through the independent prosecutory organs to look into that matter. Third, there is sanity in government. You can see a government which is clearly cut out and is focused to deliver. And what I'm personally happy is that even the dialogue that we're having with Kenyans nowadays, every Kenyan knows about finance bill. The debates that we have is about the betterment of Kenya.
So there's more civic awareness.
Exactly. Okay. We do not. Gone are the days when people used to do politics whereby people abuse each other on personalities.
They still do.
No, I don't think. Just a few individuals.
About tribes coming together, Mulembe Nation, I don't know, let's unite.
Exactly. But nowadays it's about ideologies. Even the Azimio people.
They are also talking
They are talking about issues.
What are Kenyans unhappy about?
Kenyans are unhappy and are uncomfortable about the high cost of living. And this is a global problem. We must admit that this is a global problem. Kenyans are also unhappy about the misinformation of the newly introduced taxes.
They're unhappy about misinformation.
Information, yes, okay. because they're not being given the right information. And I had an issue.
By whom?
The other day when I went to Kisii, I visited the county commissioner and told him, Bwana County Commissioner, you guys need to up your game when it comes to civic education. Because, you'll find a mama mboga or a boda boda rider saying that hii serikali imeongeza ushuru, hii pesa housing, everybody now thinks that he's paying housing, yet that is not the true picture.
Even the person selling miwa pale Kihancha.
Exactly. And therefore there is need. And this is the feedback we shall be giving to Cabinet, that there is need to invest in civic education.
So are Kenyans unhappy about the information they're receiving, or are Kenyans unhappy about taxation?
The misinformation. Once we tell them the truth, that come on, this 1.5 percent.
But what you've been saying so far, are you saying that has not been the truth?
No, misinformation, because people have been giving Kenyans information that is not right.
Okay, so Kenyans are saying, you know what? What is upsetting us is that these people have come to lie to us about what is really the situation. Is that what you're saying? Because if people are upset about misinformation, that means that they have been misguided or misinformed about a thing, and it is state of misinformation that is upsetting them. That's what you're saying.
Basically what I'm saying is, I think it's a matter of semantics.
Oh, no. I can be upset because someone has misinformed me, or I can be upset about the thing itself. Which one is it?
Certain Kenyans are upset about the real situation of the taxation.
Okay.
Others are upset because of the misinformation.
Oh, okay.
Like are you getting the point? Because we have Kenyans who are upset. I was talking to somebody who was is a senior manager, and he earns around 800,000 shillings. And he said, do you know what, Cleophas? I'm now losing 87,000 from my
tax,
my pay slip. She was very unhappy about that. But we want to tell those Kenyans that this government is going to make good use of your taxes. This government cannot do development without you paying taxes. We had to craft a way in which we can collect taxes through the finance bill so that we can be able to finance our projects. And therefore, just be tolerant with the government, give it time, be patient. And I want to assure you that William Samoei Ruto is a president who cares, and he will put your taxes into good use. You've seen he has tried to centralize even the revenue collection by making sure that we seal all the loopholes and leakages of revenue. So we are trying to make sure that even the taxes that we are collecting
are put to good use.
Asante.
Mheshimiwa. Cleophas Malalah is the Secretary General of the UDA, the largest party in the Kenya Kwanza coalition.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.